Let's return now to Syria. We have some breaking news that we're getting from Turkey, only coming in right now actually on the Reuters news agency. But the Turkish foreign minister saying that the intelligence leaves no doubt that President Assad's forces were responsible for that chemical attack. That will probably play quite heavily into the debate in Turkey on what should happen now. Many countries right around the world and the region in particular currently weighing up exactly what the options are for military involvement. Public opinion different everywhere, of course. Tom Donkin has been monitoring attitudes from around the region with some of our colleagues in the world's newsroom and joins us now. Tom, it's so interesting. Yesterday we posted this comment on our Facebook page asking what people thought about military intervention. Thousands and thousands of comments posted, lots of different viewpoints. Is that the sense you're getting from our colleagues up there on the fifth floor?
Yeah, Lucy, thank you very much. It certainly is. And what's even more surprising is what they're saying. I'll bring that to my colleagues in a minute, but it's just that breaking news you just broke a second ago is just a great example of how much this situation is in flux in Syria. And it's very important not just to give our viewers the news, but also the analysis. And two people that are key to giving that analysis are my colleagues from BBC Persian and BBC Arabic. That's Hadja and Rana. Now, we just had some breaking news there, but let's just move back to the mood on the ground in the region. And Hadja, you're a perfect person to talk to because you yourself are Syrian. Mm-hmm. I know you have a lot of friends there, and the last time you were in the country was at the start of the conflict. Yeah. What are your friends saying now with the prospect of direct military involvement?
Obviously, the mood has completely changed from the last time I was there, which was 2 years ago, over 2 years ago. There's a general sense of fear on the ground that a military intervention could take place, because that means more losses of civilians, destruction of infrastructure, and that's obviously going to affect the economy of the country, which is already bad. So people are quite scared, but at the same time, they're showing great strength in coping with the whole crisis from the beginning till now. I have to say the Syrians have showed great strength. They're saying, you know, it's been 2 years they've been in war. Their life is at danger every day they go out about their daily lives. Obviously, this is more threatening, you know, the possibility of foreign intervention, but they're saying, you know, if this is what's going to happen, there's not much that they can do to stop it. So they're going out about their daily lives, they're going to work, they're coming back home, they're going to the supermarket, buying food. They're trying to live their life as normal as possible, but obviously you can't say that it hasn't affected their lives there.
But I guess that Damascus isn't indicative of the whole country. It's a different picture across the country, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, other cities like Homs, Aleppo have been greatly affected. Damascus is still considered, because it's the capital, is sort of still in a better state than, you know, other cities like, as I mentioned, Aleppo and Homs. It's completely destroyed in Homs and Aleppo. There's, obviously, we've seen the pictures coming from there. So it's a completely different story.
Rana, if I just can talk to you for a minute about Iran's involvement, or lack thereof, in this conflict. You know, the Ayatollah has been long supporter and friends with the Assad family, but now there's a new president in Iran. Has that changed the game plan? Do you think this will change their position on the conflict?
It seems like it. Surprisingly, they have been very cautious in giving any comments about the situation in Syria. The supreme leader, even the supreme leader, who is perceived as someone more hardliner than the new president, he has stuck to some very general comments, and he talks about consequences, but he doesn't say how Iran is going to get involved or not involved at all. Of course, we were always expecting the new president to be more moderate, as he tried to change the tone of Iran's policy towards the region and the West. But even the supreme leader have been very cautious.
Just to both of you, you know, if you take Iraq as an example, and there's a lot of differences between the two countries, but we saw the US and Britain take the lead with this. How much is this more a regional conflict, if it gets to that?
It's very different, I have to say. With the war in Iraq, it was mainly, as you mentioned, it was Europe taking the lead in this, the US and Britain. With the war in Syria, if it did happen, it's going to be completely different. It's going to be Saudi Arabia, Qatar. Obviously, they're going to be supporting and giving military support and financial support. They haven't spoken yet about what they're going to do if America decides to go ahead with that. No one has actually spoken openly about it. We don't know what what's going to happen if America decides to go ahead with the intervention. We have on the other side, on the other camp, you have Iran, you have Hezbollah, which are obviously great allies of Bashar al-Assad. So we don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be completely different from the scenario in Iraq, I can guarantee that.
Haja, Rana, thank you very much for running out of time. And Lucy, do stay tuned, because on What Have Your Say, we're going to be talking to a lot more of our colleagues up here in the language services about the conflict in Syria.
OK, Tom, thanks so much for joining us. Just to remind you briefly, the Turkish foreign minister saying intelligence leaves no doubt that President Bashar al-Assad's forces were responsible for that chemical weapons attack. More for you coming up on Syria. Stay with us.